How I feel? Blessed. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We on the Washington Commanders live stream. In today's live stream, I have two special guests with me, both representing DMV Sports Zone, joining me tonight to cover the Washington Commanders as we are going to be previewing the Seattle Seahawks and Commanders game that is set to kick off at 4:25 live from Lumen Field. To my left, we have my guy Abdullah. How you doing, Abdullah? Long time no see on the channel.
Good, man. It's good to be back here. Feeling good. 4-5, big game this week.
Definitely. And then to my right, we got a guy that y'all may be familiar with, especially if you're on the TikTok realm, covering all the DMV sports teams and, everywhere else. You got Evan. What's going on, Evan? How you doing? First time on the channel.
How we feeling, boss? How we feeling?
I'm good, man. First time on the channel. I appreciate you for, just your debut on here, so I appreciate you for coming on here and taking some time out your night to talk about this team.
Hey, it's my pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Definitely. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into it. I know people out there, they probably don't want to hear this anymore. They're probably done, whether you like the trade, whether you were frustrated with the trade. I still want to personally give you guys' opinions on it because I haven't heard what you guys thought about it. So I'll start with you, Evan. What was your initial thoughts about the two tradings of Montez Sweat and Chase Young? And then how are you now?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. At first, they kind of like both of them kind of felt like a bullet to the chest in that moment because it's like I got a lot of love for Montez. I got a lot of love for Chase. I really wanted it to work for them here. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized we wasn't going to pay everybody. We just ain't got the money like that. So like ultimately it to happen. And plus it's better than letting them like walk and go somewhere else like for nothing. So like I feel good about it now, especially with the pick that we're getting back from Chicago, which may very well be like what 33. I'm hearing like 30.
Yeah, something from around
somewhere
there.
Up there. Mm-hmm. Like so, a second round pick that's basically another first round pick. By the way, if the Panthers could win tonight and improve our odds, that would be amazing. But yeah, as far as like the defensive line, I like what I see from Casey Toohill, but like yeah, like. Toohill was nice, so it's not like we don't have anybody else to like rush the edges or anything like that. So it's like we can survive. Like it wasn't a death blow or nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I personally feel like what we're attached to were their names because if you looked at the way they played, they were not game changers. I hate to say it. As much as I wanted Chase Young to pan out, I have two of his jerseys. I have a DeMatha jersey of Chase Young. So for everybody out there that feel like I dislike Chase Young, I was probably one of his biggest fans. It's just I'm a realist, okay? I call it how I see it. And Chase Young is a guy that has some upside here, but just I fully expect him to reach his peak in San Francisco. I finally expect him to reach that number 2 overall pick here, that he was drafted here, but it just didn't work out here for whatever reason. And you alluded to paying both of these guys. I'm sorry. I love Montez Sweat too, but I'm not paying them $98 million. Go ahead and go to Chicago for that. You know what I'm saying? So again, I was cool with trading both of them. I was a little kind of heard about the compensation we got for Chase Young because I know what he's going to turn into, whether that's in Chicago for or San Francisco for the rest of this year and they re-sign him or he goes wherever he goes. I think he's going to reach his potential, and that's going to kind of sting because I'm like we kind of got robbed for what he's going to potentially turn into. But I know right now a compensational third is all he was pretty much worth. So I mean, yeah, I like the guys.
If I may for a second,
yeah,
I feel like the compensation we got for Chase Young makes sense when you think about how often he's been injured. Because you got to remember, dude missed all of last season with a knee injury, missed half of the 2021 season, and started out missing the first game of the 2023 season, the Cardinals game with a stinger. So it's like when you factor that in, it kind of does make sense why the value may have been a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I said, I understand it from that point on, but me personally, I just I know what he's gonna do. So it's like I wish since we can kind of look into the future and see that, but it is what it is. And before I let my guy Dula go, I also want to add on to your last point. Casey Tuill's cool. KJ Henry got robbed of a sack, where a lot of people at first were saying he just ran into the sack. No, he actually set up that sack. He faked the tackle, and he got to the quarterback, which should have been a strip sack, and Washington would have had another possession. And we honestly, guys, can we all agree that we should have blown out the Patriots? Like, as good as that game was for us, we left so many opportunities on the field. But I'm gonna let my guy Abdullah go. How did you initially feel about the trading of Chase Young and Montez Sweat, and where are you at now with it?
So I think initially, obviously, I was shocked. I knew that one of them was going to be traded. I didn't expect both of them, like others out there. I think Montez, the value that we got back, a high second-round pick, basically a late first. I think that's great. And the fact that they paid him that much money without even him playing a snap of football for the Bears, I mean, that is insane. And Sweat, although like I was a big fan of his, first-round pick traded back into the first round in 2019 with the Indianapolis Colts, it just never was elite. He was almost there, but he just never was there. He was obviously better than average, but he wasn't elite. And that's just, if you're making that type of money, like you gotta be up there with guys like Max Crosby and like a Michael Parsons. If you want to be elite, you gotta be guys like that. And he doesn't have those numbers. Obviously, like my favorite moment of him was like when he flew up to the Raptors and pick six on Thanksgiving against Dallas. I think that was like the only blowout win in the Ron Rivera tenure. But yeah, I was upset, but it was like, hey, I knew one of them was going to be gone. And the fact that we get a second, I mean, hopefully this new regime, once Ron Rivera and they clear house, can be able to evaluate and draft talent, hopefully. But the Chase Young trade, I was shocked. I really was. Again, like you, Juan, I was a big Chase Young fan. I have his jersey. It was just like after, I think, RG3, I bought the RG3 jersey. I told myself I don't want to buy another guy's jersey. But Chase, I was like, hey, this looks like he can be the guy. DMV kid. It just sucks, man. It sucks how it didn't pan out. Obviously, like, I give him a lot of criticism because he just was never like he didn't live up to the hype. And when we drafted him, I'm like, oh, this is a Hall of Famer right here, the likes of like Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, and all these other Ohio State edge rushers. But it's frustrating that again it's just the 49ers. I mean, look, they got Trent Williams from us for a bag of chips, and now we traded them for I've traded Chase Young for a third-round pick. And like in 49ers defense, it's like a third-round pick for them is like basically a fourth-round pick. So it is completely frustrating. Also, the fact that if he did walk compensation, but at the end of the day, I'm happy that Chase Young's happy. Clearly, he didn't want to be in Washington. There was rumors about him like not wanting to play week one against the Cardinals because he just wanted to get traded. But who knows? I think he's on pace for 12 sacks, but I think San Fran will have way more than that playing along with his college teammate. But it's sad. But at the end of the day, I'm happy for him, and it's just a direction. Obviously, Casey Tuhill and James Smith-Williams, they're really not much of a drop-off considering the fact that Chase Young and Montez Sweat really weren't doing anything crazy. I know we didn't get any sacks on the Patriots, and they have a putrid offensive line. So we'll see. I give it a couple weeks. If this defensive line isn't producing at least 3 to 4 sacks a game, it's something to be worried about, and hopefully we can draft the edge rusher. We'll see. Hopefully KJ Henry next time decides to sack a quarterback, he puts like a blanket and pillow for the quarterback to land on. But
sing him a lullaby.
Yeah, sing him a lullaby. But yeah, I feel way much better now compared to initially because it was just like, bro, it's our best players on the defensive side of the ball, and they're just gone like that. But NFL is a business, and you got compensation. That's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like I said, I'm not all for holding guys hostage. Like, if you want to go, which clearly, like, I don't know how true this rumor is, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was true. But I'm hearing that he kind of faked the stinger. I don't know how true that may be, but again, we'll see in the future at some point, right? But I'm not all for holding guys hostage. If you want to go, you can go. And again, like I said, Chase Young, he as good as we wanted him to be, he never really was that here in Washington. Again, the guy, when you look at the way he rushed, he's in his 4th season, and he still has nothing but a bull rush. And again, you saw how that happened against the Eagles the second time. They got shut down. Him and Montez Sweat didn't do nothing that game. And that was a game where we needed them to show up, and they didn't. So again, close the chapter on them. I'm looking at this free agency. I'm like, hey, Brian Burns, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this draft class, like, what's going on? I'm hearing a guy from Penn State is like really good. Like, we can replace these guys. We're gonna have a ton of money, and it's gonna allow us to pay other guys like Cameron Curl, who I think deserves the money. Maybe you resign Curtis Samuel if you want to bring him back here. He may be a little bit too rich for our blood, but it allows us to do other things opposed to giving blockbuster money to guys that didn't necessarily pan out for that money. So that's it for that chapter of the show, man. Trading. Go be great. Montez Sweat. I mean, I hope you blow up tonight in a losing effort, though. Like I already
in a
know.
losing effort. That's the big part. In a losing
I know if he goes crazy tonight, oh man, Washington Commanders Twitter, Instagram is gonna be crazy. See, you shouldn't have traded Montez Sweat. Look, $98 million. Go ahead. I wasn't gonna pay him that, but all right, let's go ahead and move on to our team that's still here. Okay, how are we feeling right now at the current state of this team? Like sitting at 4-5. We let 2 slip away. That was just unexplainable, losing to 2 bad football teams like the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. But you're ultra competitive with the Eagles twice, and you get a victory over the Patriots, a bad Patriot football team. How are we feeling? I'm gonna start with you, Abdullah, this time. Your overall feeling about this 4-5 club right now?
It's just Washington, man. It's just completely frustrating when they play really good against good teams, but play down to the teams that they should beat. I mean, that 7-point loss to the Giants. I mean, come on, dude. Tyrod at quarterback. I know the defense only let up 14 points, but our offense, if you're Eric Bieniemy, you can't just score 7 points. It was just embarrassing. And the Bears game, I mean, that was just really, really bad. But I think this could be another Ron Rivera Mickey Mouse win streak, last week could have been the start of it. I could see them being the Seattle Seahawks team. They're a little banged up, but playing in Seattle, although we have been playing really good at Seattle, like ever since, I don't know how long has it been, but I think last time it was that Josh Doxson crazy catch, and we had like 4-string offensive linemen playing. But nonetheless, it's 4-5 if they win, 5-5, and playing against the Giants team next week after, where it's like they have Tommy DeVito at quarterback. Like, you got to win that. And they could be 6-5 potentially going into that Thanksgiving game against Dallas. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they lose this game, fall at 4-6, probably win 1 or 2 more games. The worst thing is, in my opinion, is if they finish like 7-10 and miss the playoffs, like last year. It'll be frustrating. It'll be frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think this team kind of shot themselves in the foot. It's no reason they should not be at 6-3 right now. But Evan, talk to me. How do you feel about this team sitting at 4-5 right now? Are you confident, or are you kind of still it?
Well, basically, this is the textbook definition of a 4-5 team. Like, they had several opportunities to be better than they are right now. Like, they had, like you said, 2 games against teams that we really should have beaten, like the Bears and the Giants. Then you also got to think about, there was that part in the fourth quarter in Philly where we scored a touchdown and we could have went for 2, won the game and stuff like that. We also had a lot of opportunities to be not as good as we are right now, to be not as close to the playoffs as we are right now. Like the Cardinals game, we could have blew that. Like, we only won by 4. We could have lost that one. The Denver game, the Hail Mary, we could have given up the 2-point conversion, let them tie it, and then go to overtime. Who knows what would have happened there? The Falcons game, we had ample opportunities to blow. The New England game, we had ample opportunities to blow it. So at the end of the day, like we're right in the middle of all that, and that's really where this team deserves to be. However, the Seattle game is a big one. The Seattle game is a big one, and I go as far to say this would be on par with a playoff level game in terms of like how bad we need to win this one. So basically what I'm feeling like, because yes, the Seahawks are a little bit banged up. However, they still do have Geno Smith. They still do have DK Metcalf unless something happens to him. But like, I feel like if we can come out ready to play, I like our chances, but we got to be ready to play. So, but if we beat the Seahawks, I'm feeling pretty good.
I definitely this is where I'm at with it, okay? And this is where a lot of other people are. We feel like this 4-game win streak is going to happen because it happened the last couple of years under Ron Rivera, and it's like it's just a staple at this point. But the reason why I'm like not super hyped about it is because we know how this is going to end. We're going to find a way to pull off 4 straight, and then we're going to lose 4 out of our last couple games and finish 7-10. Like, it's the same story over and over again. This was supposed to be different when you brought in a guy like Bieniemy, and obviously Ron Rivera, under new ownership, he knew like this was the year you had to put it all together. So we still have a really good opportunity. I just don't know how confident I am in this team's ability to do it. And it's not the talent that's the issue. It's coaching for me that is the biggest red flag with us potentially finally breaking that curse. I mean, you look at these 4 games coming up. You got Seattle. That's a very winnable game. They're coming off of a very, very terrible performance. Granted, the Ravens are a really good team. You can't only put up 3 points and still expect for people to kind of respect you. Now, we're the Commanders, so I'm not going to act like we deserve any kind of respect. But you look at the Seattle Seahawks wins on the season too. I don't know if you guys looked at them, but they're not really that defining of wins. I mean, you beat the Browns, by 4 points, and I think that was with PJ Walker, if I'm correct. Yeah, PJ Walker, and then you beat the Cardinals, even though that's a division opponent. You only beat them by 10 points. The Giants, that's a team where you got after 11 sacks, and I'm just looking at their wins, and I'm not impressed by their wins at all. So this is a team that's very, very beatable. But are we going to do that? I'm not sure, because Washington is going to always Washington, man. Like, that's just the thing about it. But, I mean, if you find a way to get this victory, that's when I'm going to probably be back on board, okay? Because you get this victory, there's no way you lose to Tommy DeVito and the Giants. If you lose that game, Ron Rivera needs to be fired right then and there.
Hey, let's not get crazy right now. Let's not go overboard.
Hey, look, would that surprise you if that happened? If that happened, I literally am gonna come on here and not be mad. It's almost like I expect it to happen, because that's what we do. We would show up against Tommy DeVito and let this man have the game of his career, and we get swept by the stinking New York Giants. But I think we'll win that game. And then you go, like Abdullah said earlier, you go into that Cowboys game on Thanksgiving 6-5, and more likely than not, they'll be 8-3. And that is a very, very good game, and a game that is for the taking that you can win. So this next 4 are very winnable. Or should I say 3 are very winnable before you get to that tough stretch of Dolphins. And even though that's a team that's struggling, I think by the time we see them, they're going to probably have their things fixed. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't know if we're going to be able to stop that high-powered offense. So, I mean, just the remaining schedule, it's winnable games on here, y'all, but it's just like, do we really feel confident in this team's ability to do that as far as who's coaching these guys? Talent-wise, I'm all in, but I don't know. So, I'm going to start with you, Evan, here. Your overall assessment of Sam Howell through 10 weeks, how are you feeling? Do you think we have our franchise quarterback? Do you still need to see more before you make that determination? Sam Howell's evaluation from you from the first 10 weeks of the season.
Before the season, I kept saying to myself, every reason that people bring up for why Sam Howell can't be the guy has already been said about another QB who ended up being the guy for their respective team. Like, oh, he was a late-round pick, so was Tom Brady. He was a late-round pick. Actually, so was Kirk Cousins. So was Russell Wilson, who was the guy in Seattle for like a decade. He's not too tall. Like, he's got a short build. Well, so did Drew Brees. Like, he came from North Carolina. Well, North Carolina don't really produce quarterbacks like that. Okay, Ohio State has an even worse reputation. C.J. Stroud's doing pretty good right now too. So like all of that really, none of that was absolute. But Sam Howell, he had the talent. He had not the talent. He had the arm going into the season. We knew that. But I've seen him progress. I've seen him progress as the season goes on. And there were a couple times in the New England game where he either like takes the check down or throws a ball out of bounds. And I'm thinking to myself, if this game would have happened in week 1 or week 2, that's a sack. Like, he holds on to that and he gets sacked. So he's progressing, and a lot of that you got to give credit to Eric Bieniemy, because you can tell he's doing amazing things for Sam Howell. But as far as like our franchise guy, now I know it's still early. I know it's still early because like it's his first full season, but I feel like he's at least earned the earn the chance to start next year when week 1 rolls around. I feel like QB is like low on our offseason wish list at this point.
Definitely. And it's just like where are you gonna get a better I guess replacement at this point? Because you're not gonna be bad enough to draft Drake May or Caleb Williams or Bo Nix, maybe Bo Nix, but I doubt it.
Or the guy at Washington.
Yeah, or Michael Penix Jr. You know, I don't know, because I still think we're gonna win a couple games. So I don't know if we're even gonna be in a position to draft another quarterback. So it's just like at this point, I know it's early, but I feel like I've seen enough from Sam Howell. Like I just know when I see a dog, I see a guy that gets it, that's mentally tough, like anytime Sam Howell has a bad play. Yeah,
that 3rd and 23 was all you needed to say, bro.
Right. That 3rd and 22 play. But then also, anytime he has a bad play, he never seems overwhelmed. He's even killed. Like that very next play, what did he do? He threw a terrible interception. Or I don't know if it was very next play, but it was later that drive. Yeah, a couple plays after that, he threw a pick, and yeah, he was frustrated, but he never let it get down. What did he come right back and do? We let a scoring drive. So, I mean, I love him, man, and I think we have our franchise quarterback. I'm a chill and let it play out, but I think I'm ready to say that now. Abdullah, talk to me your initial reaction to Sam Howell, your evaluation of him through the first 10 weeks of the season.
Well, first I want to say a shout out to Sammy Boy, because this week in a press conference he said that Virginia Tech was the loudest college atmosphere. So
I believe.
Yeah, I definitely was going to ask you about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but I'm always gonna bring it up. It's my personality when it comes to Sam Howell. I remember, dude, my first college game as a freshman, number 10 ranked UNC coming to Virginia Tech, and I'm like, who the hell is Sam Howell? F this guy, boo, boo. I mean, he did have 3 picks that game. The Hokies ended up upsetting the Tar Heels, but everyone was talking about how, man, it was just a big drop off, losing weapons, it was all offensive line. 5th round pick, the value there. I mean, oh my goodness, the tangibles are there. And like you said, he just doesn't seem phased. He makes a mistake, he learns from it. Young guy, he's 23 years old. Young guys usually, when they make a mistake, just get so flustered. I mean, that ball to Jahan Dotson, like off his back foot, and a great grab by Jahan. The 3rd and 23, he has heart, bro. Like, when have we ever seen that from a quarterback? All these quarterbacks that we've seen as a fan here, so like the past 20 years, bro, just so many. And the crazy play to Byron Pringle throwing it across the field. Now, I will say, I thought that was going to be a pick 6 in real time. But, I mean, just Sam being Sam, bro. I mean, like, he just has the moxie, bro. And he just is not cocky whatsoever. He just goes out there and balls out. And he just doesn't seem like phased. And that's what I love to see. And that's what I want to see from a franchise quarterback. I mean, if there's guys out there like really saying, oh, yeah, we need to move on from Sam, like, what are you watching? Because number 14 out there is a baller. And I'm ready to say he's the franchise guy. Now, we just need to be able to I will say Bieniemy, shout out to him for the play calling. Is the reason why the sacks have been less compared to weeks 1 through 4, weeks 1 through 5. So I think if we upgrade this offensive line, free agency with the money that we have, and draft some guys in the draft, this guy could potentially be a top 10, top 15. I mean, 2nd in passing yards. I know that goes to show that we do pass the ball a lot. But again, like, he's a young guy, and he's technically a rookie if you think about it. He's first 10 starts. Like,
he's essentially a rookie.
And compared to the guys in the draft class, like, look at how like Malik Willis is doing, how Kenny Pickett is. If you like it's just crazy, man. I think it's safe to say he is the best quarterback from that draft class. I think he's better than Kenny Pickett, and I think he's a franchise guy.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy that they would consider would be Brock Purdy. Me personally, Brock Purdy is coming down to earth. I think they're still going to be good because of the talent around him. But as far as like skill, who would you rather have? I'm taking Sam Howell 10 times out of 10. But yeah, so you talked about the offensive line with the Howell thing. Since they made, and this is the one thing that just irks me about this coaching staff, it takes for an injury to happen, because I don't think if Sadiq Charles goes down with the injury, they make changes to the offensive line. But the change that they've made to the offensive line has been really good and is what we needed, because since inserting Tyler Lawson, who prior to him being inserted, we were 6-1-1 with, so this is like picking up where he left off. Inserting him and inserting Chris Paul to that lineup, oh my God, the line has been way better. Like, Andrew Wiley's the only guy that concerns me, and he's even been okay. So I think we definitely still need to upgrade the offensive line this season. Looking at the left tackle now, we signed Andrew Wiley to a 3-year contract, but I don't know. That doesn't really mean much because you can get out of it because it's not that big of a contract. But I don't know if that means you're going to roll with him. If it's a new regime, he probably is going to be gone. But I think we've got our interior guys with Chris Paul and Cosme. You can potentially re-sign City Charles if you want. He's good. He's undersized and he's hurt a lot. But as far as center go, I don't know what Ricky Stromberg is at center. I was hoping that he was going to potentially be healthy enough to show me what he can do at center, but I don't know what he is going to be at center. I know he's a quality guard, but you drafted him to be a center, so we don't know what we have in him. Tyler Larson is reliable, but he is a little bit older, 31, 32 years old. So, I mean, I'm looking at this line, like, definitely Charles Leno is gone after this year. I think first round pick should be a left tackle, but I mean, if we go out in free agency and get a left tackle, maybe you take edge in the first round. I don't know how comfortable you would be at that, but that's now a definite need. But yeah, the offensive line to me has been better. Eric Bieniemy is a guy that I was hard on earlier this season, but that's just because I expected so much. Like, you cannot tell me after not only what he did in Kansas City, but what he did in the preseason, like, it just was like a fresher breath. Like, it was just so refreshing to see that. And I was just expecting this guy to just be perfect, which was unreasonable by me, to be honest with you. But early on, he rubbed me the wrong way. I'm going to be honest with you. He was giving me Scott Turner vibes, and that's not a good thing. But as of late, I feel like he's starting to get real consistent and more balanced. I love the pass and attack, but I feel like you needed to get the run game more involved. In the past 2 weeks, he has done that, and I think if you continue to do that, that would be well, and that'll be good. So we evaluated the quarterback. Now let's evaluate the coach that's helping this quarterback develop the right way. Evan, talk to me how you feel about Eric Bieniemy through the first 10 weeks.
All right, now when it comes to Eric Bieniemy and the offensive struggles early on this season, I think we really got to remember that before this, like, the only guy that knew Eric Bieniemy's system before the season was Byron Pringle. So I feel like it was just a learning curve the first 3 or 4 weeks, because the Philly game, actually the Denver game, they were pretty good too, but the Philly game was the first time where you noticed a new consistent like energy in that offense. Like, they were moving the ball easier, they were a lot more on schedule and things of that nature. And Eric Bieniemy, the biggest thing that I've noticed from Eric Bieniemy ever since training camp, the thing that he's bringing to this team and the thing that we've really wanted from this team for a very, very long time is accountability. Like, he's not letting players take a play off. Like, you make a mistake, he's going to get in your butt about it. Like, we remember training camp, like, there was either videos or tweets from a reporter saying how Eric Bieniemy was yelling at his guys, keeping them focused, and we were like, yeah, that's our guy. We found our guy. So there's that, and plus, it's accountability. Plus, he's been big in keeping Sam Howell's head on his shoulders, because like we've said before, he's a young guy, and when you get in the league, like, you get the reins, you make that mistake, you make that first interception, or like you make that wrong play late in the game and lose for the first time. It's not easy to shake that off. But Sam routinely comes out on the next drive, and it's almost like he never threw it. It's almost like the mistake never happened. So Eric Bieniemy, he's amazing. Like, long story short, he's amazing. And honestly, after Ron is gone, I still say Eric Bieniemy should be our next head coach.
That's some valid points right there. Dula, how do you feel about Eric Bieniemy through the first 10 weeks?
Kind of agree with Evan a lot there. I think even with me, like you said, I was harsh on him early on because I'm like, bro, like, you did all that success in Kansas City, but kind of, as a delusional fan, I'm like, you can't just expect to be great overnight. It's going to take time to mix and adjust. So I will say, though, the one concern I have is just having Sam throw the ball a lot. I want to see B-Rob get more touches, but honestly, if that's the air raid offense, I mean, so be it. That's, I guess, a lot of fans were complaining about Scott Turner, how conservative he was, but there are times where it's
how predictable he was too. But
there are times where it's like it's a 4th and 1. I mean, why were you being so cute? Let's just run up the middle. It was like that. I was thinking it was against the Eagles where Curtis Samuel was open down the seam, but Sam Howell just threw it, and James Bradbury almost had a pick six. But it's just the little things. I mean, Eric Bieniemy obviously is just the difference of how like there's less sacks. I mean, we love to see that. We were just so scared about that us shattering that record. I think it's still possible, but the way we've been playing these past couple weeks, I don't think it's gonna happen. I do think Eric Bieniemy deserves to be a head coach. Now, will it be this team I want? But we'll see down the line. We'll see how Josh Harris and company are feeling. But I'm pretty excited what Eric B has been doing. We just have to see down the stretch of the season now this team plays out.
Yeah, definitely. Eric Bieniemy has a real good chance to be a head coach in this league. Again, is it going to be here in Washington? That to me is the ideal, because I don't want Sam Howell, even though I think he's fully capable. I do not want Sam Howell to learn another system, and that'll be 3 systems in 3 years from him. I want to have a quarterback that has been in a system for long enough to where now he doesn't even have to think. So the ideal for me would be to bring Eric Bieniemy in as head coach, maybe to Vita Pritchard as the offensive coordinator. You can groom him, and then maybe he goes off in a couple years and get his own gig. And then defense, maybe we have to figure that out. I don't know who's out there right now that could be a good guy that can replace Jack Del Rio. But again, you never know. Like Bobby Slowick, I just found this out. He was another guy that was on this coaching staff in 2012, 2013, and he's on the guy's radar to be a head coach. So maybe you bring him back here to Washington. Like there's other guys out there besides Eric Bieniemy, but I think the ideal would be for Eric Bieniemy to stay here. But again, you never know what these guys are going to do. The new owner staff is going to do. Ownership group is going to do. But he's been good. I think the Patriots game, for me personally, I don't know how you guys feel, but that was the best game I've seen called from. As far as what I want out of him, me personally, I've been wanting more balance out of him. I don't have an issue with him passing a lot. I quite frankly, I love that. But I feel like he needed to involve running more, and not just that out of gun counter inside. That kills me. I felt like he only had one run play, and it's just like, dude, line up under center. You brought in Alex Armour, who's a fullback on the active roster for a reason. Why is he not in the game on these short downs? Fourth and one, you have Brian Robinson, who literally he is a tank. It's gonna take more than one person to bring him down. So I feel like the more he gets balanced and the more he gets comfortable and trustworthy of his players. Because again, this is his first time being the guy. I understand he was the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, but this is the first time he's really the guy. I think he's going to be fine. And I would honestly like for him to be the head coach. But again, it's still time is going to tell what happens with Eric Bieniemy. But I am liking what I'm seeing from him. Now, the next player that we're going to assess is a guy that's coming off of his best game of his young career, and a guy that a lot of fans have already, I guess, kind of gave up on. That is Emanuel Forbes. He is coming off of a really solid game, but he is a guy that has struggled early on in his young career. Evan, how do you feel about Emanuel Forbes? So first of all, what was your reaction to the draft pick? Because me personally, I thought, oh man, Christian Gonzalez still right there. That's definitely who we taking. Then it was him. So what was your initial reaction to the pick? And after seeing him play through the first 10 weeks, how are you feeling about Emanuel Forbes?
Okay, when I heard the word ball hog, that was all I needed to hear. That sold me on Emanuel Forbes like right away. But then when it comes to
all right, Dooley could take over till he comes back.
And I got too excited talking about Emanuel Forbes. No, I was like, you.
I'm back.
Back. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, the game yesterday, right? I mean, not yesterday. This past week. That's exactly why I have a policy in place where, like, I don't give up on rookies. I let it ride out the whole rookie season, and then wherever you end up in week 18, we go from there. Like, we go from there, and we come back in year 2. But Forbes, like, dude has the right attitude, because you could clearly tell, like, after the Eagles game, he could have went, like, his mind could have went a whole lot of different ways, but dude was clearly focused. He was locked in, and he had the best game of his career, best game of the season so far. And you could really tell that he may have had a little bit of extra motivation, because This game was against the team that did draft Christian Gonzalez, although I believe Christian Gonzalez was hurt this past week. And so all this week he was remembering how people said like we should have taken Christian Gonzalez over him. So he was like, all right, let me prove right here definitively that I was the right pick. And he acted on
it. My thing was, I feel like it was a mixture of him just he's a first round pick, okay, but you don't have to put him right out there on a top guy immediately. Like, I thought it was a better situation to work him in slowly, let him gain some confidence before you just directly put him out there against AJ Brown or DJ Moore. Like, he wasn't ready, and the fact that our freaking bogus defensive coordinator just allowed it to happen for the whole game without any changes. AJ Brown came to the podium and was like, it was one-on-one coverage the whole game. And I'm just like, you're allowing this? Then you let the confidence get down on him. You hear the fans talking about it. So I just felt like it was a mixture of him being not ready and then also our coaching staff, specifically Jack Del Rio, not helping the young fella out at all. So Abdullah, let me know what you feel about Emanuel Forbes. What has been your evaluation of the young fella through the first 10 weeks of the NFL season?
I was like you. I posted my reaction. I really wanted Christian Gonzalez. He was there, but I mean, training camp we heard a lot, and everyone was saying he looks like a pro. And it's good to see that there are lows and highs and lows of being a rookie. And a lot of people, I for one was trashing on him, but I was also saying, like, bro, Jack Del Rio, you clearly see he's going up against one, if not arguably the best receiver in the NFL. Tyreek Hill's up there, but AJ Brown, he's an elite. And you put him one-on-one, he's just getting torched. But you don't learn from the first game. In the second game, you put him back in after a long absence. It's just Jack Del Rio, just very questionable coaching, but it was good to see that he got his confidence back. I know it's against the Patriots wide receiving core, and it's basically an XFL room. But at the end of the day, we like to see his confidence get up, and hopefully this week, we'll see if it line up against him against DK Metcalf. I prefer him to be on Tyler Lockett. I want Kendall Fuller to be on DK Metcalf. But Emanuel Forbes, like I said, you got to be patient. Give him some time. He is a rookie. He's still learning. And like Evan said, week 18 is a good time frame where, like, okay, let's evaluate everything. Let's not give up on him too soon.
I don't even know if I want him on Tyler Lockett, to be honest with you. I'm looking at Jackson Smith and Jigba, and like, I don't even want him on him. Like, my thing with Forbes is he's probably not ready. He's not, even though I understand coming out of Mississippi State, they said he was like, he had a lot of games played in college, but again, I'm not trying to make the weight thing a big issue, but I just feel like he's a guy that belonged in the slot to at least start his career. I love St. Juice on the outside. Last year, he had A.J. Brown on a milk carton. Why did we go away from that? I don't know. I can't tell you. Kendall Fuller, say what you want about Kendall Fuller. Right now, he's playing at one of the best cornerback levels right now. And I think right now, you can't name me 5 cornerbacks that's playing better than Kendall Fuller at this current moment. So I definitely feel like it's gonna take time, okay? And I think the fan base definitely needs to be a little bit patient, and myself included, because I definitely didn't want Emanuel Forbes. I didn't have an issue with the pick, but I had somebody I preferred to get. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here shortly. So we're gonna, transition to the final topic. Evan, let's go ahead and transition back to the Seattle Seahawks and Commanders game and talk about some keys to victory, keys to victory first. What do you got for the Commanders to come out of Lumen Field victorious on Sunday?
First and foremost, this team has to be ready to play, because we've seen time and time again in the Ron Rivera era where we have a big game that could potentially define our season and the team just looks flat. So they got to be ready to play. That's number one. Second of all, I'd say you got to. It's a similar situation with Philly, although not to the same extent, but it's a similar situation where you got to put the right corners on the right players, because Seattle does have a trio of receivers that can hurt you. They got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they got Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's number two. So you got to, Kendall Fuller and Benjamin St. Juice, they got to show up, they got to show out. We need to put pressure on Geno Smith, because when Geno's off schedule, he's a completely different guy, and he don't read the same, he don't make the same decisions. Then there's that. And then when it comes to the offense, first of all, we got to run the ball. We got to be committed to running the ball and be consistent in running the ball. And secondly, I'll be honest, Devin Witherspoon was my pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year coming into this season. So like we're gonna have to watch out for him. But I expect Terry McLaurin to have a big game. I actually expect a couple catches from Logan Thomas too.
So my thing with Terry is like, I didn't think we would still have this issue with Eric Bieniemy here. Big problem why I was over Scott Turner was because he lacked the ability to get our playmakers the ball. So I'm thinking, okay, with my confidence in Sam Howell and with how good I know Terry McLaurin is, and with how good of a play caller Eric Bieniemy is and can be, I'm thinking Terry McLaurin was going to have a huge year. Now, he's still on pace to break 1,000 yards, but I was thinking 1,300 yards or something like that for Terry. So I'm still waiting for Terry to eclipse 100 yards. Could this be the week? Potentially, but I don't know. I also on
One
the
thing
same
I
flip
have noticed,
side,
though, Howell is spreading the ball around. It's not just one guy gets all the catches this week and then another guy gets all the passes next week. If you look at the box score from last week's, Terry had what, 5 catches, 4 or 5?
Yeah, about 4 or 5. I think for like 73 yards.
He had about 4 or 5. Logan had a couple. Dotson had a couple. We even heard Byron Pringle's name a couple times. Like he was spreading the wealth. So like if he keeps doing that, we might be fine because that'll force Seattle to take pressure off of Terry because while he is explosive, the idea is that's not the only place the ball is going.
Right. And that's what I was going to allude to also. The same token as me wanting Terry McLaurin to just have these historic numbers like A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill, Sam Howell's doing a good job of getting other guys the ball. Like you mentioned, Byron Pringle was a guy that, was really good for us last week. And I made a video and I'm like, hey, look, I honestly would not mind bringing all these guys back. I like everybody in this receiving core. I know Bieniemy Brown has been kind of up and down and he dropped a touchdown. Like you can't cry for opportunities on Twitter, Bieniemy. And then when Sam Howell throws an absolute beauty, you can't let it go through your hands. Should have caught it. But even with Bieniemy Brown included, I like this whole receiving core. Terry McLaurin, obviously, Jahan Dawson and Curtis Samuel. Now, again, Curtis Samuel may be a little bit too expensive for you, so you may not directly bring him back. But if you do, that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? Bring him back. And then, obviously, the back end, I like Jamison Crowder. I know he's like 30-31, but look what he brought for the special teams unit. And not only the special teams unit, but picking up where he left off last time he was in Washington, being a really, really good, slot guy and a guy that has short hands. So I think this wide receiver room as a whole is really good. And you made a good point talking about how he's spreading the ball around. And I like the key to victory that you brought. Me personally, another one that I think that I didn't feel like I would have had to say this year, but we're coming off of a game where we were absolutely horrid in the red zone. We can't go, 1 for 3 this past week or 1 for 4 in the red zone and then expect to beat Seattle. That's not going to happen. So we need to be efficient in the red zone, maybe 3 for 4, 2 for 4. Just got to go down there and finish off with 6, okay, plus 1, 7. You got to finish off there because if you don't, then you're going to find yourself in trouble. So we can't have another Sam Howell pick that was just absolutely bad. And he said it was probably the worst play that he's ever had in his career. Brown Robinson fumbling. Like, we have to capitalize on these opportunities because this is not a New England football team that is struggling. This is a Seattle Seahawks team that, they're coming off a bad loss, but fully capable of beating you and taking advantage of your mistakes. So that's my key to victory. Do you have any more that you want to put out?
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. We got to be good in the red zone, and we got to stay on schedule because Sam Howell can convert on 3rd and long. We saw him do it time after time in New England, but it's preferable that the 3rd down stay 3rd and manageable, like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, no longer than 3rd and 4. You feel me?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because, although we got a guy that can convert, well, at this point, 3rd and 22s, we got a guy that can do that.
He didn't even need to throw it either. He just picked it up with his legs, bro.
Right. So, although we have a guy that's capable of doing that, you probably don't want to be in them predicaments too often. So I definitely feel like you are exactly right with the 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Around there is where you need to be and, to remain balanced. You know what I'm saying? That is what's going to allow you to stay in them predicaments. But we know what EB's going to do. Sam is probably going to throw it about 40 plus times, which I actually feel like that's what this game is going to be because I'm not confident in this defense whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get to our final score predictions, and then we'll get about here. Me personally, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because I don't think neither defense is really that good. I know Seattle defense has some playmakers, Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. They are having some couple pass rushers that are getting active, and they are coming off of a game where they took advantage of a couple weeks ago a Giants offensive line that was pretty bad. They have 11 sacks. Our offensive line is not nearly as bad anymore, but still capable of getting worked. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go ahead and say 31-34 Washington wins, and a Joey Slide walk-off field goal, and Washington gets back to 5-5. Or back to 500, I should say. So, Evan, take us out with your final score prediction. How do you see this thing playing out?
I don't think it's going to be that high, but I still think the team's going to go score for score. And you got the right idea with the Joey Slide field goal. I'm going 27-24 Washington win.
All righty, cool. So, hey, I appreciate you, Evan, for coming on, making your debut on the channel. Maybe we'll link up again, some more to talk about this Commanders team this season. Any last words you have for the viewers out there? Where can they find your work?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter and TikTok, on all social medias at The Voice of Evan.
All righty, so y'all know where to find me here. Juan Gotti Talking Sports on all social medias, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 7,000 subscribers, and go follow my guy Evan, having a really, really good, have a really good TikTok following, and also on Instagram and everywhere else you're gonna find my guy Evan. So thank you so much, my guy, and y'all have a blessed one and enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. And maybe watch that Thursday night game. Maybe try not to fall asleep.
That game's gonna end like 3-2.
Try not to fall
7-3.
Right? Like I'm rooting for the
on
Panthers.
A fumble in the end zone.
I'm rooting for the
end zone. That's gonna be the touchdown.
I wish Justin Fields was playing because it would make it some kind of interesting, but maybe Badger can do something. But I'm rooting for the Panthers.
1-yard pick six, and that's the only touchdown we get.
It's gonna be horrible, but I mean, hey, football is football. But I appreciate y'all for rocking with us tonight. Y'all have a blessed one, and y'all stay safe. See y'all next time. As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all later. Peace.